Hello and welcome back to my channel and another video. In today's video I will be talking about intermittent fasting. A few people have asked me what intermittent fasting is, because I did mention in a previous video that I do practice intermittent fasting. So that's what I'll be talking about, what intermittent fasting is and how I do it and how it's worked for me. I'll also be sharing with you a hack for losing weight at the end of this video. If you like this video, then please do remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. So I've been practicing intermittent fasting for about 2 years now, and I definitely have lost weight. I've noticed that my shape has changed and I am a lot slimmer than I was when I started. It's probably about 9 pounds altogether, I'd say. I also feel like I've lost weight off my face, which isn't as good. But you can't choose where you lose weight from, unfortunately. So when I was growing up, I was always taught to eat breakfast, as breakfast was the most important meal of the day. But actually, this isn't true. And my dad, bless his heart, he would always encourage me to eat breakfast in the morning, and he would make me a slice of toast with different topping on every single day that ranged from Marmite to strawberry jam to sandwich spread to, oh gosh, I can't even think now, honey, to try and encourage me to eat the toast. And more often than not, I wouldn't feel like eating it at all, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to eat anything when I woke up first thing in the morning. But to please him, I used to eat half a slice just so that I would please him. I've also struggled with high blood sugar level and then it dropping really low and feeling shaky. And I'll talk about this more in another video because I feel it's really important, because I hear people talking about it all the time and saying, oh, I'm constantly hungry, or I get shaky after I've eaten something. So I'll talk about this more in another video because I think it warrants a separate video, because I think people don't understand the food that they eat affects them in different ways. So fast forward quite a number of years and I found out about intermittent fasting as a way to lose weight. I can't remember when I first heard about it, to be honest. I think it was watching a podcast or something on YouTube. And I thought, wow, okay, because I'd always struggled with going for long periods without eating food. And I just thought that, that wasn't healthy. But when I actually delved into intermittent fasting and listened to an expert talking about how it actually is good for the body and the body can benefit from it in a number of ways, I thought I might as well give it a go. So it wasn't easy to start with, and at first my body was really struggling with it, and I had a number of issues that I dealt with as I went along. I won't go into those now. But basically, the main one was just constant hunger, because over the years I had trained myself to eat breakfast. And so then cutting it out again was quite difficult. So let's talk about what intermittent fasting actually is. So intermittent fasting is a way of eating that cycles between eating and fasting, and it doesn't recommend any foods that you should eat or avoid, but just when you should eat them. So in this respect, it is not a diet in the conventional sense, but it is an eating pattern. Common intermittent fasting methods involve daily 16-hour fasts and also 24-hour fasts twice a week. Fasting has been a practice throughout human evolution, and ancient hunter-gatherers obviously didn't have supermarkets or refrigerators, and sometimes they wouldn't be able to find anything to eat for days. As a result, humans evolved to be able to exist without food for long periods of time. In fact, experts believe that fasting is a more natural way of eating rather than eating 3 to 4 meals a day. So now we'll talk about the different methods of fasting. So there are several different ways of doing intermittent fasting, and all of which involve splitting the day and the week into eating and fasting periods. During the fasting periods, you either eat nothing at all or very little. So these are some of the most popular methods of intermittent fasting. So the first one is the 16-8, and this is the one that I do. And that means that you skip breakfast. If you do it this way around, you can do it also the other way around as well and skip dinner. But I skip breakfast and then I eat from between 12 and 8. So I don't eat for 16 hours and then I actually eat for 8 hours. Well, there's an 8-hour window between 12 and 8 and that's when I eat. Then there's something called eat, stop, eat, which means fasting for 24-hour periods and then eating normally. And you would normally fast for 24 hours twice a week. Then there is something called the 5-2 intermittent fasting. This is where you eat normally for 5 days of the week, and then on the other 2 days of the week you restrict your calorie intake to between 500 and 600 calories. So by reducing your calorie intake, all of these methods should have the effect of you losing weight, because you will have a calorie deficit because you're not eating as much, unless you cram in loads and loads of food in your 8-hour window or on the days that you're not doing your calorie restriction. But as I say, my experience is that I have lost weight and I've kept it off as well. Sometimes I do find that I'm getting a bit earlier with my coffee or my juice, my green juice, because I have a green juice nearly every day. And I do find that sometimes I'm getting a little bit earlier and it'll be maybe 11 o'clock because I'm feeling very hungry that day. And if I feel like the pounds are creeping on, then I just adjust the timings again. Or I might do a 24-hour fast if I feel that that's needed, if I'm going on holiday and I feel like I need to be a little bit slimmer, then I'll just do a bit of adjustment with it, and it just works really, really well. And it doesn't cost you anything because you're actually buying less food than you were before. Well, that's my experience. So I'm just going to go into a little bit of the science behind intermittent fasting and what actually happens in your body when you do intermittent fasting. So it does affect your cells and hormones, and there are things that happen in your body which, as I say, I'm not a medical expert, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but I will give you a little bit of information. So your body will adjust hormone levels to make the storage of fat more accessible. So that means that your body can use the fat for energy rather than the calories that are coming in, because there aren't any calories. So your body is using the fat that it has stored, and that's why you lose weight. So your cells also initiate important repair processes and change the expression of genes. The levels of growth hormones skyrocket, which is absolutely fantastic for muscle gain and fat loss. Insulin sensitivity improves and insulin levels drop, and this makes stored body fat more accessible. When fasted, your cells initiate cellular repair processes. This includes something called autophagy, which means that your cells digest and remove old proteins that have built up. There are changes in the function of genes related to longevity and protection from disease. These changes in hormone levels, cell function and gene expression are responsible for the health benefits of intermittent fasting. As I say, it's worked for me, so why don't you give it a go? You've got nothing to lose except for a few pounds maybe. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, so you could give it a go for, I don't know, a couple of weeks and just see how you get on. I know a lot of people who do it and a lot of people who have benefited from it. So yes, I promised you a hack at the end of this video, and that is vinegar. Now, when somebody told me this, I was a bit skeptical because I thought, how on earth can vinegar help to lose weight? But it actually does, and in particular, belly fat. So what you need to do is have a spoonful of vinegar, so a tablespoon of vinegar in a tall glass of water, about 10 to 20 minutes before you eat anything sugary or carbohydratey type of food. And it will actually stop the spike of glucose that you get when you eat something sugary, or sometimes it just happens with white bread, it does with me. And so the vinegar will actually prevent that spike or lessen the effect of that glucose entering the body. So the vinegar has got something in it called acetic acid, which actually slows down the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Any vinegar is fine, apart from balsamic vinegar, because it's very sweet and I think it must have sugar in it. And also any vinegar that is found in the cleaning aisle of the supermarket, obviously do not have any of that. So anything like apple cider vinegar, probably even malt vinegar. I think I've had some of that before when I haven't had any apple cider vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar because I quite like that. Or rice vinegar or white wine vinegar. I'm sure red wine vinegar or cherry vinegar all work really well. The one thing I wanted to mention was, I know a lot of people have those apple cider gummies, and while they may seem like they're healthy and they will do the same, but they will have the same effect, they don't, because apparently some of them, if not all of them, contain sugar, and so therefore it's not gonna have the same effect as drinking vinegar. So I don't mind the taste of vinegar. I actually quite like it. So I don't know if that's just me being me and strange. But yes, I have found that it is a really good hack. So why don't you try that too? Again, vinegar isn't that expensive and you may find that it helps you. So I really hope you enjoyed this video on intermittent fasting. If you've got any questions on anything, obviously I'm not an expert. I only know from my own experience of intermittent fasting. But I will try and help you if I can. And I will see you again in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.